The second International Exhaust Emissions Symposium, entitled Current and Future Trends in Automotive Emissions, Fuels, Lubricants and Test Methods, was held at Bosmal Automotive Research and Development Institute in Bielsko-Biała, Poland, over the 26th and 27th of May 2011. The second symposium was organized as a direct result of the success of the previous year's event. Experts from the automotive field, fuel and lubricant manufacturers and after-treatment system specialists reported on recent developments and key trends for the near future regarding automotive emissions testing and development. Over the 2 days of the symposium, 18 delegates delivered their presentations. 2 specially invited keynote speakers delivered extended presentations on subject areas of particular relevance to the symposium's content. The remaining 16 presenters delivered their presentations during 4 thematic sessions entitled Emissions Legislation and Test Method Development, PM and NOx Emissions Test Method Development, Catalyst Technology Development for CI and SI engines, and fuel and engine oil development. In addition to these invited speakers, many other individuals attended the symposium, with a total of around 80 participants, representing 12 countries and 3 continents. The symposium was officially opened by Bosmal President Dr. Antoni Świątek. After warmly greeting all those in attendance and thanking all the speakers for their contributions to the technical program, he mentioned how legal controls, namely environmental legislation, had come to be the foremost driver of engine and powertrain development.
Jest to pierwszy prywatny instytut tej rangi.
Bosmal is the first large, privately owned automotive institute in Poland. We employ about 300 people, including 170 engineers, of which around 20 are engineers with doctoral and postdoctoral academic degrees. We work with hundreds of companies from around the world. We perform research for the automotive industry, including research on vehicles, engines and automotive components.
Badania elementów, innych elementów samochodowych.
Following the highly successful first International Exhaust Emissions Symposium we hosted last year, we organized this year the second International Exhaust Emissions Symposium here at Bosmal. This year, we are hosting high-profile guests from 12 different countries across 3 continents and 33 firms and organizations from the automotive and fuel industries, as well as technical universities. An important part of this symposium is the opening ceremony of the Bosmal's new engine test cells.
My opinion of the future in the hybrid powertrain is that definitely we will move, I don't know if in 10 years or in 40 years, but we move to have all our cars with some hybrid features in place. And the reason is that we are adding complexity, but we are adding more possibility to optimize the operation of the powertrain in different operating conditions, driving, acceleration, braking, and so on.
In terms of the emissions regulations, there are going to be 3 trends. One is in the globalization, harmonization, but the open question is whether the US participates in that. The second aspect will be in the expansion. There's going to be more components now that will be measured and more components will be regulated. And the third trend is really in realistic. The emissions regulations now will have a trend of real life and realistic impact on the measurement of emissions and fuel economy in the real world.
In the last 30 years, emissions have been reduced by a factor of 100, so it's very low right now. Today, we get new powertrains, hybrid start-stop, which makes it very complicated. Regulation has to adjust for it. Will getting complex, very challenging, but the effort is worth to do for our nice, clean environmental. So we should do it, and we from AVL are happy to support the industry with our test system by this.
We just had the opening ceremony of this new engine lab, and Bosmal has decided for the AVL automation system and the AVL instrumentation. And I think it was a quite clever move of Bosmal to do that, because AVL instrumentation meanwhile became, in that particular field, the industrial standard. And the automation is very well accepted in the automotive industry, not only here in Europe, but also on a worldwide basis, not only at the OEMs, but also at the Tier 1 suppliers. And since Bosmal has the business goal to serve, let's say, mainly the European automotive industry, it was a good move, because they don't have any problems that their testing results will be respected.
As you know, the testing is something that cannot be avoided in the development of the engine. In spite of the, let me say, the calculation, the simulation surely can improve the product, but the product becomes more and more complicated. And sure, you cannot avoid to test. The test is something that has to be crucial in our project. Can be reduced, can be optimized. We can use some methods to reduce the effort, to improve, like the design of experiment, smart tool of calibration, something like this, but surely we cannot avoid the test. It's something that has to be. And if you consider the complexity of the engine increase, surely increase the testing, increase the simulation, it is a calculation, but we cannot avoid. We cannot just optimize, reduce, also to reduce the, let me say, the timing, you know, the development time. So is a continuous improvement of the engine and the testing methodology. It's something that has to be done.
I'd like to say, first of all, it's my first visit to Bosmal, and I wanted to say how impressed I am with the facility and the people. Even with, I was given high expectations by my engineers because Bosmal is preferred testing spot for them because of the results they get and the cooperation. So they say, oh, you have to come. So I come for this, and then I can do two things. And what I have to say is exceeded my expectations. The capabilities of the people, enthusiasm of the people, and so yeah, I see now why they like to test in Bosmal. GM diesel development. It's divided into right now two main areas, which is Euro 6, meeting Euro 6 in the most cost-effective way. Because Euro 6 will require NOx after treatment, and but whether it's say the two technologies, of course, everyone knows LNT and SCR. SCR having a large cost penalty and an integration penalty into the vehicle. So it's trying to see how much performance we can get out of the LNT to use it in the widest range of the vehicle applications for our engine. So so I would say that's the one, and the other one is in the area of CO2 reduction. And we have short-term plans that we're rolling out now for, I say, small CO2 reductions, but again, every gram is critical. And then we will continue to roll these out through Euro 6, but then the long-term reductions, I can't talk too much about, but I can say they're in the range of, their area of hybridization and variable valve train, or variable induction control to reduce the pumping work of the diesel engine. So we have short-term and long-term work going on there.
W miarę jak my będziemy inwestować w aparaturę, jak będziemy
As we invest in test equipment and develop our research capabilities, we're able to offer to European industry, and even worldwide, a wider and wider range of specialized testing services.
Będzie się rozwijał ten kongres.
PM used to be measured by sampling particles on a filter and then weighing the filter. But now we have newer instruments capable of measuring the particle number in real time or the particle size distribution in real time by measuring the electrical mobility or the aerodynamic size of the particles.
Well, catalyst technology development is a process that starts with very basic chemistry and physics and moves through to, at the end, of course, you have to demonstrate the performance of components on vehicle and engine tests. So it's a lengthy process. The first parts of any development are always done by ACC's member companies. That's something that I don't get directly involved in. ACC gets involved is in then demonstrating the potential of those sort of technologies in running engine and vehicle tests to show to the legislators what is possible.
Diesel oxidation catalyst is for CO, hydrocarbon and NOx emission control. It's a very complicated system. So Nanostellar is taking an approach like handling the gases individually. So for example, we do have a CO oxidation catalyst, hydrocarbon oxidation catalyst, and NO oxidation catalyst. Hopefully that we bring this all functional material together, we will have a very cost-effective catalyst without precious metals.
Umico has many customers around the world, and the customer that I'm dealing is a Fiat Group customer. For Fiat Group, it's now important to develop a new emission system for the engine of commercial vehicles. Among these, the SCR is very important, and we are doing here in these labs, that is a very well-known labs for Fiat Group, some investigation in order to optimize this system. The SCR system that we are developing here are a system of two types, copper and iron. And this cooperation is now going on for at least 2 years, and we hope that we will have good results to present to our customer in the few months.
Alternative fuels in general, those are challenges for the catalyst because there are so many different types of alternative fuels, and all of these require certain optimization of the catalyst. Is it CNG, LPG, any kind of blends of the diesel or gasoline blends? You need to do certain optimization of the catalyst itself before knowing that is it durable or feasible enough. Is there some selectivity challenges to have some indirect byproducts, for example? This you need to be handled by catalytic modifications. And when it comes to biodiesels, then the variety between batch by batch or quality control is not that sufficient. It should be there plenty of impurities acting catalyst poisons, and then we have durability challenges. But as long as we know all these challenges beforehand, we can optimize the systems. What comes to Bosmal collaboration, we have collaborated with Bosmal for several years already. At the moment we are running in 2 different sectors, both particulate matters and SCR, and we are very happy with the surface and quality control and all this speed and cost efficiency of the Bosmal. And this is one of the easiest test center to collaborate as a foreign company, I would say. So this collaboration certainly will continue also in coming years.
I think the role of the advanced simulation is that we cannot do development of modern engines, and especially the development of modern engines within the powertrain without simulation. Because no engineer is able to combine all the various parameters which we have to consider from his engineering knowledge alone. So mathematical simulation is an absolute must.
Friction losses is one of the main items where we are working now. It's possible to reduce HTHS, so we move even out of the standard ASEA classification, and so we reduce the viscosity of the oil. Another side of work is the additives, so in example the nanotechnologies. Nanotechnologies can be used into the oil as anti-wear or friction modifier, and this can help to reduce the frictions.
Chciałem pogratulować firmie Bosmal za to.
I would like to congratulate Bosmal for having organized a great symposium, which gathered together such highly qualified workers and specialists from the field of exhaust emissions reduction.
I ograniczenie emisji. Co ta konferencja nam pokazała?
What has this symposium shown us? That currently powertrain development is going in the direction of the next reduced level of emissions of harmful compounds and reduction of fuel consumption and therefore CO2 emissions. At this symposium, all the technologies to achieve this goal have been shown, namely measurement systems, testing systems, exhaust gas treatment systems and fuel. Feedback from attendees was very positive, echoing the successes of the previous year's event. Given the high level of the presentations delivered, the number and standing of the attendees, and the overwhelming success of this, the second symposium hosted by Bosmal, Bosmal's Exhaust Emissions Symposia looks set to become a regular feature of the automotive emissions testing community's calendar.